All right, as the world puts all its best efforts to tackle climate change, the one conversation point where industry is leading from the front is sustainability. And I'm joined today by Mr. Ravi Gupta. He's the chairman of Sugar Bioenergy Forum, Indian Federation of Green Energy. He has been promoting ethanol for the past 20 years in India and is very, very passionate about ethanol in India. He is the chairperson of World Trade Organization Trade Investment Committee of ASSOCHAM. Sir, please welcome on stage. Let me begin by asking you, the government, the Indian government, it has been very much focused on ethanol blending, and it is a roadmap that was released in 2019. In fact, 20% of ethanol blending target that was set for 2025 has already been met. Can ethanol really help to reduce pollution?
Thanks, Osama, first of all, to give me an opportunity to speak on this dais. Ethanol obviously is my very, very favorite subject. And I will add to 2019, in fact, in 2021, Prime Minister released a roadmap for ethanol blending in India, where we advanced that 20% ethanol blending target by 5 years. It was to be done in 2030. We advanced it to 2025, and it is a absolutely great achievement. In terms of environment friendly, yes, the answer is yes in capital letter, yes. You know, to just simplify for this audience, when you extract crude oil, you release carbon in the environment, and which is not the case when you make ethanol. Ethanol is highly renewable, and ethanol is environmentally very, very friendly. So there are different studies done. For example, even if you're doing 20% blending, the carbon monoxide saving is close to 40%, 30% for cars and 50% for four-wheelers. And also, you know, ethanol has oxygen. It is oxygenate, so it also helps in burning the fuel better. So hydrocarbons are also very, very less. So it is highly environment friendly. To just give you a perspective, in last 10 years, through our ethanol blending program in India, we would have reduced carbon emission by 63 million tons. So that is the impact of the environment on ethanol. And not only environment-wise, but otherwise also because the feedstock comes from the agriculture, so farmers gets benefited. I can talk about sugarcane. In last 10 years, 1 lakh crores roughly would have gone to the farmers through this program. And also we saved around 20 million tons of crude oil imports. So the impact is not only on the environment, but overall on everyone, including our farmers, including energy security, including saving the foreign exchange. So ethanol has multiple impacts. So just to answer your question, environment, of course, on the top.
When you compare it with different countries, what is the ethanol blending experience in other countries as compared to our country, India?
See, Osama, the leader in ethanol blending is Brazil. And they started ethanol program in 1930s, which got stopped, and then came back in 70s with their program called Pro-Alcohol, where they started with 5% blending of ethanol into oil, and that's where the beginning happened. But the major break was in roughly around in 2000s, and when they introduced the flexi-fuel cars in 1990 rather. Flexi-fuel cars, these cars basically by name is flexi-fuel, that it can use 100% ethanol or 100% petrol. So that was the major breakthrough they happened, which Brazil did. So today they are doing 27% of blending of ethanol and also running the cars on 100% ethanol as well. We call it E100. And among the other countries, US, for example, has a renewable standards which mandates 10% ethanol. Europe is between 8 to 12%. Then Thailand is close to 10%. But by far the leader is Brazil, which is 27%, and then we come at 20%. So that is the story all around the world.
That's a great number, by the way.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. In fact, India, I can say with pride, we have the fastest growing ethanol program in India. This Annadata to Urjadata is a remarkable story from India. And generally, I term it zero to hero. To give you an example, in 2014, our ethanol blending program was almost nil. We used to do 1% and 1.5%. Today, imagine sitting in 2024, we have reached to 20%. And the journey was formidable. I mean, every step had to be taken. We didn't have a distillation capacity. The government came out with several policies, including the interest subvention on setting up the distillation. The government followed up the distillation projects on weekly basis. I remember the meeting used to happen every week. Okay, you had promised that you will make a distillery and you had got your interest subvention approved. What about? How is the progress of the stack? What is holding it back? Environment clearances. So India started virtually from scratch, I would say. And today we are at 20% something, and the best example in the world that how fast such a large country can move. So the journey has been really, really outstanding.
That's actually wonderful. Having said that, how do you, what can be done in order to further, popularize the use of ethanol in this country?
See, we have already reached to 20% blend level, and which I was explaining to you is a very great achievement in such a short period of time. Now, and our capability is to do much more. Now we have to think next steps. And one of the steps is that, like Brazil, we also use flex fuel vehicles, which can run on 100% ethanol versus 100% petrol. So that is the big step which we can take today. And in India, 75% of the vehicles are more or less the two-wheelers. And there is a technology available, flexible cars are available, and that is the next step which India probably should take. So there are, obviously when you take such kind of decision, there are obviously challenges. For example, flex fuel cars are a little bit more expensive than the other cars. So it has to be tackled with the GST concessions. Then also, the pricing of ethanol has to be commensurating with the energy content. So with all this challenge, I think if you ask me what should be the next big thing in India, it has to be flexi fuel vehicles like what Brazil has done.
There is also a debate that is grain versus sugar. And this is something that we have been hearing a lot at this particular moment. Which is the best source for ethanol production, according to you? Is it grain? Is it sugar? What is it?
See, let me begin by saying, all ethanol are environmental friendly, gives us energy security, and a farmer-friendly program. So may it be grains or may it be sugarcane. So both scores, on the top as far as environmental friendly.
But why is there a debate, is what I want to understand.
So okay, let me explain. So if you ask me sugarcane ethanol versus grain ethanol, I will obviously say that sugarcane ethanol is much better than grain ethanol from a lot of angles. One is that the water used per liter of ethanol in case of sugarcane is lower than corn or rice, because sugarcane per hectare yield is around 70 tons, corn is around 3 tons, so that is one aspect of it. Second is the land used for making ethanol is much lower in case of sugarcane ethanol. For example, you can produce something around 5,000 liters of ethanol per hectare of land as far as sugarcane ethanol is concerned. In corn, even if you take two crops, Rabi and Kharif, because you can, still it is much lower, around 30 to 40% lower. So the land utilization is less in case of sugarcane ethanol, and also the water usage is less. Then there is energy efficiency component as well, because energy basically in case of sugarcane is around 1.9. So that is energy balance. Energy used to make a particular kind of energy, so it's 1.9 in case of sugarcane, and it is only 1.3 in case of corn. So in all this aspect, then comes the question of greenhouse gases. For example, if you are using 100% ethanol, you save around 70% of greenhouse gases, which is much lower in case of corn. So definitely I will say that sugarcane juice ethanol scores far higher than the grain ethanol. But having said that, I do not think it's a question of debate today, because India, to run a program of this size, has to have diversified source of feedstock for making ethanol, because we do not have so much of sugarcane also that we can use all of it to make to 20% blending or even more. So both has to coexist. But in terms of priority and in terms of the economic feasibility and environment feasibility is concerned, sugarcane ethanol obviously scores far, far higher. But again, I'll tell you, there is absolutely no debate that both of these raw materials are required if we have to really go higher in terms of ethanol.
Mr. Ravi Gupta, thank you very much for sharing your views, and we hope the kind of work that you're doing at this moment, it helps tackle the climate change problem, and we are all hopeful. And we all hope and pray that we see a better future.
I'm sure we will all work towards that. And today we have Yuva on the munch, and I'm sure they will be the torchbearer for the future for a environmental sustainable country. So definitely we will do our best.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.